circles. Please welcome Mr. Mehmet Öğütçü, chairman of the London Energy Club, to the stage for his keynote speech titled "The Future of Global Energy: The Rising Role of Geothermal and the Turkey's Leadership." Welcome. Today, we are organizing the first International Geothermal Investment Summit. As Mr. Cevdet has also mentioned, he said that I would say the thing I was at the end. Normally, I will say it at the beginning. To Ihlara Valley, fairy chimneys, and the Cappadocia is very well known as a very ancient settlement, Christian settlement. This place is also a place where the pilgrims actually come. It is very clear that at the same time, Cappadocia, not maybe as Western Anatolia capacity, but it has a very important potential to become a center in the geothermal energy. As Ömer Bey and Cevdet Bey highlighted the importance of the holistic strategy and vision, if we put it into action, Turkey now in the first rank in Europe and the fourth geothermal actor around the world. Cappadocia should be stationed as a center in the geothermal energy, not only for the electricity generation, but for the direct users. It is of importance. Such places are needed to have some characteristics, like Silicon Valley in California are supposed to have some peculiarities, some unique characteristics. Kotazo, for example, technological centers, for example, are developed. People actually prefer going such places. Cappadocia is a very ideal location in this respect, and it is also a center of excellence. I believe we are now laying the foundation for this. We have not focused on this issue so much. Maybe we put our vision and we say that there must be a master plan. We need to make geothermal atlas must be updated. From 1.7 gigabyte to, I don't know, 3 times or 4 times higher up until 2030. The vice president has mentioned about 40 gigabyte, even 60 gigabytes, for example, could be possible. And electricity generated from the wind actually is now higher, a little bit higher, between 17 or 18 gigabytes. So there is still quite distance to be covered. We have flour, sugar, everything, but how can we cook helva? Because it is very clear that there are sources, and the new sources, potential sources, are now to be discovered. And the human capital is extremely rich. Engineers, entrepreneurs, and next generations have a great potential. The biggest shortage, I believe, can we really put this vision into action, into practice? This is what we have seen in 2030. We had very demanding intentions, but unfortunately we could not achieve even half of that. You may have vision, but it is also important to decide on how to use, and the finding should be broad. Direct investments should also be broad. This is the main theme of our summit. Turkey, we don't have money maybe, and energy investments are expensive. I've been working in the petroleum and oil and renewable energy sectors for a long time, including mining sector, and the initial phase cost is very high, and it is not possible for a single entrepreneur to meet all these costs. There are two ways the government, the state, will share the responsibilities and pave the way for the further investments, providing some subsidies, and the financial powers may come together. That should be mutual trust and considering the long-term stability. They may come to Turkey. Before moving on geothermal, I just want to open your horizon. I want to open a window in terms of the global energy system and Turkey's position. Turkey has already been integrated with the world global energy, checking the fossil oils, for example, 98 in natural gas, nearly 50% in coal, in different percentage. In terms of funding, technology, and trade, Turkey, unfortunately, very centrally has been depending on the external sources. I'm saying 97% in natural gas. I don't know the new gas discovered, found in the Black Sea, up to what extent it can cover, it can meet the needs. We are talking about even $16 billion. And in terms of the supply, safety, security, if we have any problem, any geopolitical turmoil or conflict with Russia or with the other countries, oil, LNG, ships, etc. These are all risk factors. So I worked as a diplomat in China for a long time and implemented OECD programs in India as well. The same issues is applicable in those countries. Energy itself could not be considered as a secured energy supply on its own. It is not a funding, it is not an investment itself. It is also a national security problem. We have already seen it in France, in Portugal. Yes, a couple of weeks ago, what happened? Transportation system, communication system collapsed. His hospitals collapsed, data centers as well. So this is not the matter of the supply security, but also how can we make them resilient against such disasters or such incidents. In comparing with the natural gas and nuclear, the renewable energy could not meet the real need of energy. And even a short gap actually collapsed the system. That might happen to Turkey, to all the OECD countries. And after the digitalization increase in energy sector, cyber attacks may be organized. So you can do what drones, missiles, or the fight aircrafts cannot do. There are some new dynamics. If you want, I can say a couple of words. For example, transformation in energy, mitigation or abatement of carbon emissions. No one could object to that. Of course, we all want to take ourselves away from the fossil fuels, and in terms of reduction in the current deficit, and for the smart use of the technology, we need to station ourselves at the center of the renewables as well. So this figure actually may shock us. 81%, which will not change. The share of the fossil fuels, what I mean, the oil, natural gas, and coal share is 81%. And regarding the others, nuclear energy, renewables, or the cell fuels, etc., any energy source you may think is covered under the remaining 29. So it is not possible to reduce the use of these energy types. And the time is passing, of course, and the name of the play of this game is getting changed so fast. So renewables may not replace the fossil fuels rapidly. It is very important fact, and we have seen this in France and Portugal. In terms of the base load, it is not possible for the renewable energy to get replaced. But the share of renewables reached 30% around the globe. But these are not alternatives for each other. And of course, transformation or changing processes in each country are different. You cannot compare Turkey with other countries such as Malta, Argentina, China, or the United States. You know, the Trump came to the power secondly, and he says that we would like to set energy sovereignty here. He has a point, actually, because considering the natural gas and oil, they have a leading position. You know, the United States is #1 oil manufacturer. Trump is in his second terms of office. He is not a single wolf. Of course, there is a very strong coalition bringing him to the power. He says that he actually brings crazy statements. You should not think. This is not the reality. There are also some background issues. You know. If you had a look at the team, his staff actually, you may realize this. There will be a new world order, and everything will change. You know, we're still expecting the further impacts of the Cold War. That might be right or wrong. He may have right or wrong visions, but he's saying that we will actually establish a new world order, and the Europeans actually should. Should actually solve their own problems. So this is actually a process of transformation in a new world order. So energy has an important role. We have been discussing on technology issues, especially because of the digitalization and thanks to AI. We have now increased the efficiency in energy, and we started to commission sources we have not thought so far, and we reduced the cost, and the AI would be very functional for reducing the cost. You know, for each megawatt, it is equivalent to $3 million. It is maybe 3 or 4 times higher than the wind. It is also very important to reduce the cost over there. And it also brings technology disruption. It creates a mess. On the one hand, it is a gift, which is actually facilitating our work, but on the other hand, it is growing so fast. You cannot catch it. Maybe you invest $100 million, and then it is old-fashioned, old school, and then you need to make another investment, just like the cell phone technology. You buy an iPhone, for example, but 1 year later, it is becoming old school. So in the same field here, China has the superior position. It is not negotiable, of course, because in the past, you know, you had a very big prejudgment against this quality of the products of China. But right now, considering all the investments made by the United States and put all the research and development activities of the United States together, they cannot actually catch China's technology in some points. And in the renewable energy, electric vehicles, etc., it is pioneering. So we should not. Of course, we should also consider China's position, you know, the sovereign wealth fundings in the Gulf countries and in Asian countries as well. It's also very critical. And there is a very huge energy poverty around the world, as Cevdet they mentioned, Green Deal issues or CBAM. These were actually some works made by the rich countries. More than 1 billion people cannot access to the energy for commercial purpose even. They don't care it. Okay, they are maybe put pressure to mitigate their carbon emissions, but in total the carbon emissions is not even 1/3 of the total around the world. Actually, in the Asians or Central American countries, no one is giving any care to that issue. And in the Trump has actually withdrawn, from the Climate Change Act, just in a reverse way of the policies followed by Biden. So it is okay. Green Deal will bring a good impact on the European Union position, but he actually shared that date. But the new chancellor in Europe, I believe, will make the European Union policies loosened in a fast way, because there is a very rapid deterioration in these policies. They cannot compete even with China, with the United States. Energy prices are very high right now. Considering costs of the United States and European Union, there is a six-fold difference actually. So how can you compete under such a order? So energy, geopolitical tensions are another issue. Not only the petroleum oil or the natural gas or the supply security. By the way, I was the chairman of the Asia Pacific Energy Council, and because of the increasing demand of China, how could we make the order in the world okay, the supply safety is important, demand safety is also important on the other side. Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, United States, Venezuela, etc. Is there any market? Is there any demand against my energy I'll generate? So you should take into account both securities, and the cyber security is now very pivotal as well. You can create a mess everywhere with a cyber attack. Panama Channel or other the channels are Turkish Straits, etc. But in terms of the geopolitical transportation issues, they are very significant. And it was also interesting point indicated by Mehmet. Lithium is now found in Turkish waters, and it is becoming much more valuable because it is also used in different technologies, cobalt, nickel, lithium, rare earth elements. They are now much more valuable, much more significant comparing with the other elements. And China is also leading this sector. 90% of these critical elements are processed and under control of China. United States, okay, imposes high tariffs, but all of a sudden they stopped the exportation of 3 earth elements directly, and the United States actually requested for negotiations. Okay, Turkey is centrally depending on the external sources. We don't have sufficient funding to feed these investments. We don't have technology, even though it is developing slowly, but mainly we are depending country, and because of the customs union issue, we cannot act freely as much as we want. So all the strategies which will be implemented by Turkey should be closely related to a development model. I wish Jeff that was also here, because he's also a very nice development economist. He brought a very nice vision, but I saw it is nice, but what about the implementation? We believe that the government was not so successful at that point, and that there are also some investments who are willing to undertake this responsibility. So you need to actually eradicate the barriers in front of that, considering the new and latest developments in the world. Otherwise, you cannot handle with that issue. Okay, we are discussing on that. We all know what the problems, what are the solutions. We know it. What about the countries? What they did. Turkey covered a very nice distance in the last decade as an important model for the other countries. But how can we make the funding sustainable? Insurance issue, sharing the risks, etc. If you spot a well by paying so much money, making such an investment, it is very inevitable that you can lose some entrepreneurs in this field. You should actually make it much more attractive. So it should also be integrated with the farming policy, with Industry 4.0, with the health policies as well. It is not a work that Ministry of Health can do it on your own, on its own. Yes, I, as a vice president, for example, if I was there, I could coordinate all the works between the different ministries, inline institutions, etc., with the investors, with the local administrators, etc. We need such a network. It is so scattered, unfortunately. Maybe it is they have a good will, but it is not going well. And secondly, we need to create trust. Okay, we have a potential. We are aware of this reality, but I always reiterate this issue. 3G strategy. It doesn't matter whatever you achieve, actually, even though you impose a great vision or you bring best human resources. If you don't have 3G, you cannot take one step forward. What is that? Trust. If you cannot, if you don't create this, you cannot draw any capital, any investor, entrepreneurs, and the players, internal players, cannot be encouraged as well. So Turkey actually is now stationed in a very central position to export investments. For example, in comparing with some European countries, Latin American countries, or European countries, Turkey actually is at leading position. Maybe I live in London. Thermal spots, for example, there is a very big investment or encouragement so that they can start their investments. But there are also some areas at priority, so it is very prerequisite for them. But of course, there is a competitiveness in the international trade. No one actually wants their competitors to grow. So win-win situation should be taken into account. This is also set in politics, but not put into action frequently. As a diplomat, I've been working, I'm paying a great attention for a long time in every negotiations I was involved, and I guided my delegation in this way as well. Your counterpart, the others, should also win. Otherwise, competitiveness could be lost. I don't want to take much time of yours. Q&A could also be made, I don't know. So energy is our vein, actually, not only ours, but also the world's, and it is actually moving forward in a different position because of the Trump policies. You know, the investments in fossil fuels were about stopped. $2.7 billion was the global amount, but the two-thirds was allocated to the renewable energy, and this rate will change. Fossil fuels will stay for longer years. We need to actually go in parallel. Lord Howard, actually ex-Minister of Foreign Affairs, we were discussing that one way was actually preferred, either fossil fuels or the renewables. That's not the case, of course. They should go in parallel right now. There are many different, 28 countries, different interests, different allocation of sources. So that should be, of course, consistent, and they should be open to strategic international cooperation. In geothermal activities, actually, Turkey has covered a good distance in the last decade, 1.7 gigawatt. Considering the existing installed capacity, that could sound small, but 0.5 is the percentage in the world. It is not even our wind potential, but the potential is very big. Turkey is now in the 4th rank around the globe, and maybe in a very fast way we can actually pass the other countries, New Zealand, Iceland, or Kenya. We know how they reduce the cost. We know it because it is not possible to stand alone in this global competitiveness. This is my final message I just want to convey. There is a very big opportunity in front of Turkey. Energy policies maybe are not going the way we want, but if we are concentrated on only geothermal, we need to use our leading position around in the globe. So this summit is an important opportunity, and Cappadocia would be the place everyone want to come and making invest. So not only I'm talking not only about the vision, but also by some action plans. We need to put it into action. I hope at the end of this meeting, to both governments, to the vendors, funding vendors, and to international community, maybe we may produce 10 action plans, and when we organize the next year meeting here, we may feel the progress we will cover. So on this occasion, I would like to thank you. You had 17 hats, as far as I'm concerned. I thank you, Ömer, for your performance, because if you don't have such a leadership, it is not possible to progress forward. Leadership plays a very vital role. I have a book, actually, I've written. Era of Crazy Leaders is the title of my book, which will be published in the upcoming weeks. Yes, business as usual, we call plotted, and those making so many times preliminary surveys, works, consultations, etc. Consultations are of course important, but it's not possible to go forward only through negotiations made by the current leaders. So we need to get quick decisions as well. Unfortunately, the number of the authoritarian leaders in the world is increasing. Xi Jinping, Putin, or the Hungarian leader Modi from India, not to say anything for Trump. So they may take very decisive steps for expediting the development, or on the other side, they can unfortunately cause disasters or calamities. So we need to have such quick decisions, but leadership is very important. And if we can make funding or attract more investments, I believe that we can take a very quick step and progress forward in this sector. Thank you. I don't know if you have any questions. I don't know. What about time? Microphone, please. Professor Mustafa Topaloğlu, I'm a member of Executive Board of Cemiyat. Thank you very much for this enlightening speech. You mentioned about the energy crisis in Portugal and France. 4 or 5 years ago, it happened in the United States as well. In terms of the stability issues, what will be the future of the geothermal power stations in this respect? If possible, you can elaborate on that. What do you think? Geothermal may be much more important under this energy crisis. Yes, this was actually the crisis happened in Portugal and France, and it happened in different countries. You know, in the United States and Israel, for example, the United States actually made a blackout to show what would happen in war situations. So you need to have sources which must be operational on different locations. Nuclear energy is expensive in pairing with the wind, but Turkey needs nuclear power as well. But this is not the 150 million cost type. The white elephant one, SCRs now smaller scaled ones. It is easy to manage the waste, and it is much more secured. Nuclear energy is inevitable, actually. You need to have in the energy mixture, and you cannot give up from the natural gas. There are still natural gas resources which will maybe meet the need for 2 centuries more. Coal stations, you meet the need of the 30% of the energy. You should keep doing that. Maybe you can make it much more green, more clean, but in the sense geothermal, okay, there was no wind or there was no sun on that day, so such fluctuations actually will not happen. So this is, I believe, we can increase the potentials 500 times higher in thermal tourism or in different tourism areas. But the initial cost is very high. If you can bear 10 years, that's okay, of course, by the subsidies of the state, but you will make much more money in comparing with the other energy sources. So the world will never give up from this point. That could be used as a basis and creating stability and resilience as well. But for the solar energy, for the wind energy, biomass, etc., these would also be utilized. So that we should have this perception. Sometimes this is a wrong perception. Okay, let's stop all the fossil fuels, and now in the solar radiation may meet the 50 years of need and of energy for the globe. That's not the case, of course. We were all generations, we would have some results maybe in 15 years, but now you can fix this issue in 1 year. New generations may have different approaches to energy. We were fossil fuel energy generation, but what will the next generations do in this respect? So geothermal energy is a very reliable energy source. Current potential is very low. 1.7 is a very low figure in terms of the needs of Turkey. But at first, 4,000 and then 40 gigawatt and 60 gigawatt is also supposed to happen in the world. So that could be an important actor to change the game. So this summit, this event is extremely important. If you don't have any questions, thank you. Ismail Kara, I'm from Afyon. I used to work for MTA, and I was the ex-head of Department of the Geothermal Energy. I just want to answer to the previous question. In terms of the electricity generation, we have conventional systems in place, but for energy supply security, we have some more potentials which must be coming to the agenda of Turkey. Kızgın Kurukaya well surveys are done, drilling, boreholing completed, and because it was not fluid, we could not come to the generation phase. Coming to the central Anatolia, there is a very remarkable potential. As MTA, we have already initiated some preliminary works, but we had to stop it, unfortunately. But in our geothermal areas, especially Turkish Petroleum Association also made a great survey. We should take the advantage of that. But Kızgın Kurukaya studies are requiring more integrated work, so our government should also encourage this work, because the basin situation is now a little bit problematic. Sustainability issue is problematic. Regeneration imbalances come out as well. So these issues should be taken on the agenda of our country. Thank you very much. As you mentioned, if you also think about the technology and if you put it, yes, there is an allergy, against geothermal in agriculture sector in the environmental pollution issues. If you lose your social license in this field, not possible to progress forward. Unfortunately, that is why you need to use the technology smartly by reducing the cost. And on the other side, you can also hear what the local communities say. You have to show respect so that you can maintain the ecology order. I don't want to take much time here. Last question, maybe. Thank you so much for your valuable remarks. We appreciate that. You actually brought very comprehensive perspective. Geothermal has been included in a wide range of energy needs from time to time and has been excluded as well. But at the end of this meeting, what should geothermal investors do? First question, second question, and the third one is the same. What should geothermal investors do? You can maybe wrap up. Yes, you have a point. This is what I try to emphasize. I wish that Bey was also here. He could listen to us, because as far as I know, he has a very strong perspective for the development issues. He could also be trustee, the honorary president for this attempt. Yes, what should be done? Who should do it? It is not a rocket science, actually. So what kind of investment and funding could you appropriate for that? I strongly agree with you, and we will prepare 10-item action plan. If you allow me, I don't want to share the secret information right now. Thank you. We would like to have you on the stage for a while. The chairman of London Energy would like to have you on the stage for a while. Thank you so much. We mentioned about a very important stone, obsidian stone. We have also presented to our vice president and would like to present it to you. It is a fabulous stone. Mustafa Topaloğlu, a member of executive board of Cemiyat, I would like to invite you to the stage with your applause. Let's get our obsidian stone. Thank you so much for your contributions. By the way,